Hi everybody. Okay, so today what we're talking about is we're going into 15.3, and that's dealing with solving volume equations. Okay, so up here at the top, well, first of all, put your name, and this is 15.3, solving volume equations. Solving volume equations. Alright, so this is not complicated, guys. You can do these problems pretty simple. Alright, so I'm going to go through at least two of these with you, and then I might see if you guys can solve the last one yourself. Okay? So let's look at a few examples here. So example 1. Find the length of the rectangular prism below. Alright, so they give you the volume. They tell you that it's 672 centimeters cubed. Alright, so remember guys, for volume, your answer for volume is always going to have the little 3, like a little exponent, and it means cubed. What does that actually mean? What that means is there's basically 672, and let's say I have a cube. Okay, if you draw a little cube three-dimensionally, alright, that means if this cube is 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter, and that's your length, your height, and then let's say your width is also 1 centimeter. Okay, if those are all 1 centimeter, that's a 1 centimeter cube, right? Okay, so that means, got some weird music coming on here. 1 second, let me check this out here. Yeah, I got some ads going in my music. Okay. So anyhow, if you had a centimeter cube that's like this, each side is a centimeter, you could fit 672 of those into this rectangular prism. That's what we're actually talking about when we talk about volume. All right? So, what they're giving you here is, they don't give you what the length is. All right? So that's the length. So the L is equal to what we don't know, the length. We have our width, and then we have our height. All right? So basically you have to use the formula. Okay, so the formula for the volume of a rectangular prism, I'm sorry, I don't want to use A, I want to use V. So volume is equal to length times width times height. Alright, so the volume they give you, so you go ahead and put that directly below 672 is the volume, equals, now my length is what I don't know. Okay, so you go ahead and put the variable L for that. What's my width? My width is 12, so I go ahead and put 12 in parentheses. That way it sets it apart from the other numbers, so I'm just using parentheses to set it apart. And what is my height? My height is 7 centimeters. Okay, so it's good to write it directly below. So write out the formula, and then directly below fill in all the stuff that you know. Alright, so now you just have to think about, how do I want to solve this formula? Well, hopefully you guys are getting the idea down of how to solve a formula that looks like this, because we've seen this before in previous modules that we've covered. But the 672, you just rewrite it. You cannot do anything with that, okay? It's just a number by itself. Now, we can do
12 times 7. Okay, so off to the side, just do 12 times 7. That's going to be 84. Okay, 2 times 7, 14, carry the 1. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 1 is 8.
So now 12 times 7, I can replace that with an 84. And then I keep my L there because I don't know what L is. All right? Now, so I have 672 is equal to 84L. So when you see
84 times L is equal to this, remember guys, this is multiplication going on between the two, okay? Even though there's no dot there, we can put a little dot there. We want to do the opposite to both sides of the equation to get the L by itself so we know what L is equal to. All right, so you want to divide both sides by 84. All right, so what happens to the 84s there? 84 divided by 84 is 1. So the 84s cancel out here, and all you're left with over here is L, right? Okay, so now what you want to do now, I'm kind of running out of room, but if I had more room below here, I would write my L here. I have a little bit of room, so let me do that. Okay, so what you have here is L and equals, now what I have over here is 672 divided by 84. So you're just going to have to do that and figure out what that answer is. 672 divided by 84. Okay? Now, 84 doesn't go into 6. It doesn't go into 67. So I just have to estimate about how many times do I think this is going to go into 672. So the way I would do this would be, this is close to 100. How many times would 100 go into 600? Well, 6 times. It's a little bit less than 100, so then this is a little bit bigger than 600. So I'm going to say, it's going to go in 7 or more times at least. Now, something that might help you out is think about, this probably goes into that number evenly, because on most of the time math problems, they come out evenly a lot of times. So think of a number times 4 that's, bigger than 7 that you could multiply times 84 that's going to give you a 2 on the end. So what I would do is I would try to start out with 84 times 8 and see what we get. And I don't even have these answers next to me. I'm just working this just like you guys would be working this if you were working it by yourself. So this would be 32. That's 64, and that would be 67, right? So that means that 672 divided by 84 is equal to 8. So my L is equal to 8. And I could say length is equal to 8. And since we're talking about centimeters, I would label that centimeters. Okay? Since it's a length, you just want 8 as your answer. You don't want to put centimeters squared or cubed or anything like that. They're just talking about the length. So 8 centimeters. Okay? All right. Let's look at example 2. Find the width of the rectangular prism below. Once again, they give you the volume. Okay? And this is, you can't really see the decimal there, but it's 582.75. Okay? So here is my length. Okay, so we're dealing with some decimals here. Don't let that throw you off. It's just decimals. Okay? So once again, volume equals length times width times height. Okay, what's my volume? You just go ahead and plug in what you know. 582.75 is equal to, what's my length? Well, I know my length now, it's 9.25. So I'm going to put that in parentheses, 9.25. What's my width? I don't know what my width is, so I just put a W. You can put the W in parentheses too if you want. And then the last part, what's my height? My height is 4.5. Okay, so there's what I need to do to solve for W. This is what I got to work out. All right, so remember, what do we need to do here? 582.75, we can't do anything.
Now, what can I do to this side of the equation? I can multiply 9.25 times 4.5, right? All right, so pause the video, you guys work through it, and then I want to see if you get the same thing that I do, okay? So I got 9.25 times 4.5. Basically, ignore the decimals, just multiply, and then see what you get. So that's 5 times 5 is 25, 5 times 2 is 10, plus 2 is 12, 5 times 9 is 45, plus 1 is 46, and now I have to multiply 4 times 5, so that's 20. Remember, you have to bring your first digit in 1. Once again, I carry the 2, so 4 times 2 is 8, plus 2 is 10, so I got 0, and I got another 1 there, and 4 times 9 is 36, plus 1 is 37. Okay, so now I just need to add these up. 5, 2, 6, that's 11, and 4. Okay, now remember, since I have a decimal here, I need to count my decimals up. So that's 1, 2 spots, and that's 1 spot here. Okay, so that's a total of 3 spots I need to move my decimal, right? So remember, you start here, 1, 2, 3. So I got 41.625. So that means 9.25 times this is 41.625. And now I have my W still. Okay? So this is a little bit of work here. You got to take your time, just one step at a time. Don't get in a rush and just work it out. So now I want to get the W by itself, right? So I need to divide both sides by 41.625. Divided by 41.625. Okay. So what happens to these, the 41.625 over here? Both of those cancel out, right? And all you're left with is W is equal to, basically I need to do 582.75 divided by 41.625. Okay? So these are kind of big numbers, but we can do this. I'm going to flip it over here on the back, I think, and do this problem. So 582.75 divided by, and I got to flip it back over, 41.625. 41.625. Now, since this is, we got a decimal here, we don't want to deal with a decimal, so we want a whole number. We're going to move it 3 places. Same thing in our number over here. We're going to move this 3 places.
82,750 divided by 41,625. Now that's a big number, okay? But I don't think this is going to be too hard. Does 41,625 go into 5? No. Does it go into 58? No. Does it go into 582? No. Does it go into 5,827? No. Does it go into 58,275? Yes. It would just go in one time, right? So 1 times 41,625 is 41,625. Okay, you're going to subtract 0, 5. I got to borrow. This is going to be 7. That's 12, so this is 6. 7 minus 1 is 6, and this would be 1. And then I'm going to bring down my 0. Okay, so now we got 166,500. You're going to have to guesstimate. These are big numbers, okay? So
Maybe this isn't the best example for us to have our second problem be, but this is at least a challenge for you. Okay, so 41,625, that's about 50,000. So if you're counting by 50,000, 50,000, 100,000, 150,000, let's guess that this is going to go into this maybe 4 times. We'll see. Got my commercial coming on here. I'm going to times 4, because I know that 4 times 5 ends in a 0, so this might be the answer. Okay, so this would be 20, 8, 9, 10. That's 24, 25. That's 4, 5, 6. And that would be 16. So look what we got here. 166, 500. So this would be a 4. Oh, the commercial's finally over. Oh, I thought it was. One sec here. I'm getting that commercial off of here. Alright. Okay. So my answer is 14. Okay? So this divided by this is going to give me 14. That was a pretty tough problem. You guys, you're not going to have to deal with questions that are that big on the test. Okay? So my width is equal to 14. And that would be centimeters. Alright. So that was a pretty good problem. Now, these aren't so big of numbers right here. I want you guys to solve this problem, okay? Now, what I would do here, how do you write 379.5 as a decimal? You guys should know this, 379.5, right? And you can write 16.5 as 16.5, okay? So, I want you guys to solve the problem just the way that we did these 2 problems up here. What we're missing is what? Well, we got our, you could say this is the length, the width. We're missing the height, so you have to solve for the height, okay? Just like we solved, well, we solved, let's see, did we solve for the height? No. We solved for the length, we solved for the width, so now we're going to solve for the height. So your answer is going to be something, height of this in centimeters, okay? Alright, so go ahead, you guys try to solve that. Let me know when you get your answer and I'll check it for you, okay? Alright. Nice job, guys. Thanks for listening.